Yes, sir. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy D Nolly, aka Don Squally, and today we are back with another Forza Horizon 4 build video, man. So in this one, we have a request, as per usual, coming from a couple of people down in the comments section. So as always, if you guys want to see something in particular, don't forget to drop your comment down below. But for today's video, this request is coming from SKTT and Nathan Kim on YouTube, and they both want to see It's Just a Six's purple Miata, in which he calls Meep. So first and foremost, what we are going to have to do, if you guys are familiar with the process, we are going to have to jump into the buy car section of the game, and we're gonna have to try to find a Mazda Miata. So I'm thinking for legitimacy, we're gonna have to go with this 1994 MX-5 Mazda Miata. We're gonna go ahead and select, I'm gonna go with the white color as per stock. And of course, with that being said, we are about to jump up into this build. So for those of you guys who have watched It's Just a 6's video, know that he started out with a very legitimate 6-cylinder Mustang, and now on the channel, we have a turbo Miata. Now, for whatever reason, most YouTubers tend to get a Miata. I think just because they're cheap, easy to mod, relatively popular on the YouTube community as far as people buying them and tracking them. But for me, I'm a Nissan guy. I'm an Infiniti guy. So if I had to buy something to track, it'd probably be more like a 350Z, which not really in the same realm as a Miata. Obviously, much bigger. Still kind of the same idea though. You can get them in roadsters, front engine, rear wheel drive, but that's just my own personal opinion. So first and foremost, we're gonna have to put on that big old lip here. As far as the wing goes, if I'm not mistaken, It's Just a 6's Miata actually wingless. For the rear bumper, I'm thinking we're gonna have to do something. Nothing here that's exactly matching 6's Miata, but I think, man, all of these are actually pretty garbage compared to what 6 has on his car. But I'm thinking what we're going to do is just proceed and do the best with what we have. So we're just going to keep it moving here. Now, as far as Mazdas go, I have to say Miata is probably one of the only Mazdas that I would consider buying, in my opinion. They just, they rust out very quickly. I grew up in a time when Mazda Proteges, Mazda 3s were popular, and to be honest, they just rust out way too quick. I can't really speak on the reliability or anything like that, but I did have the, I don't want to say pleasure, because it was probably more of a headache that was involved, in parting out my buddy's Mazda 3, and I gotta say every bolt was pretty much seized on there. So I mean, if you're willing to put up with that, I'd say a Miata is probably the best way to go. So we're gonna go ahead and install these HRE 546Rs, and we're gonna big up the wheel size just to, I'm gonna say a 15. Now 15s look relatively big on this car, but if you guys are familiar with It's Just a 6's Miata, you'll know that he doesn't have a crazy offset, doesn't have any crazy low profile set of wheels. They're just very tasteful, and they fit the car, and they're functional. Gonna go ahead, give ourselves a little bit more offset on these wheels. As you can see, we already got a little bit of natural camber there, which will probably change a little later on in the video. Full clutch getting upgraded, as well as the transmission. I'm planning on putting quite a bit of horsepower down on this car, so we're going to need the transmission to be fully upgradable when we get to that point in time. Brakes, we're going to go ahead and upgrade just because I like stopping when I'm trying to race. I don't know about you guys. This thing we're going to lower just a little bit here. I'm going to put on anti-roll bars both front and back, again, just for the drivability and the enjoyment when I do get it out there. For those of you guys who know, this car does have a full roll cage, so we are going to go ahead and install one of those, as well as some light weight reduction on this car. Now comes the fun part, the horsepower. Now, recently, Six just uploaded a video on dynoing this car, and it made 236 horsepower, which in the grand scheme of things probably is not a whole lot to most people. However, in a Miata, that is a lot of horsepower. So that's going to equate right to about 170 kilowatts, which is what we are going to shoot for with this car. So we're going to upgrade intake, exhaust. We're going to go ahead, upgrade that turbo just a little bit, and I'm thinking some fuel system upgrades right around 270. Let's see if we can bump that up just a little bit more with some ignition, and I'm thinking that's going to be pretty much it for this build. Now, when I do these YouTuber builds, I do try to keep it authentic when it comes to the power upgrades, but mostly the way that it looks. So next up, what we're going to have to do is add some designs and paints. For those of you guys who've been paying attention, this car, pretty much a very dark purple, almost an eggplant, you might say. So that's what we're going to go for on this one, but I'm thinking we're going to probably do a little bit of almost a color shift with a dark pearl. Now, the highlight color is going to be a black, and then we're going to keep the main color kind of purplish, I guess. And we're going to see if we can dial this in to look as close as possible. Kind of a dark purplish, dark bluish color on this one. Darker, and I think that's pretty much it right there. I'm happy with that color. Few other things we're going to have to do here is black out the wheels. So I'm going to go ahead, do that right now. Actually, I think for this color, if we can, probably go with a matte black on this one. I think that's going to be just a little bit more authentic. And I think that's about it on this one. Not anything too extravagant as far as the paint scheme goes. And now that we got all of that out of the way, I think we are ready to take this thing out on the road. I was going to do some tuning, but to be honest, I'm just excited to see what 230 horsepower can do in one of these cars. And there's nothing too crazy as far as this car being lowered that we really have to change. This is pretty close to the way Six has his Miata. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead, take this thing out on the road. Now, already I can tell taking quite a long time to rev up into the higher RPMs. Now, I just came out of doing some of the Forza Horizon challenges, I guess you could say. So I was driving quite a few fast cars, trying to hit some speed traps and some jumps. So this thing, compared to, let's say, the Porsche that I was driving, a little bit slow, but nonetheless, I gotta say one thing for sure. This thing handles like a dream. Just gets the back end sideways, lots of grip up front. Almost takes a little bit of adjustments, a little bit of getting used to compared to some of the cars that I was driving earlier. But we're heading into a nice windy road here, which should be a perfect test for this car. If I don't hit the fence, which is, you know, obviously something that's happening right now. Why wouldn't it? Speed zone here. Let's see if we can maintain a relatively decent speed here through the speed zone. Hitting that RPM red line there just a little bit. A lot of times when I'm making these videos and I'm just yapping on, it's actually kind of hard to hear what the engine's doing here. Getting that tail end whipping out just a little bit. Again, touching the red line a lot of it. Now, as much as this thing is not a rocket, I gotta say it's fully functional. You could take this thing out on the, you know, on some race courses, some online racing with cars in its class, of course. The thing's nothing, nothing too serious when it comes to the high horsepower vehicles, but you could definitely take this thing out, do a couple of races against cars that are in this class, and do relatively good. The back wants to stay planted unless you're really whipping it around. You know, the car could reach the higher gears a little bit quicker, which is one thing I think we may go ahead and change on the transmission real quick, just to see if maybe we can hit those higher gears a little bit quicker. We do have 6 gears on this car at the moment, so if we can get into 6 and be doing a half decent, you know, a half decent speed, I think that would be much better. But overall, I'd say this car is pretty legit as far as the build goes. As you can see, climbing a little bit quicker into those, you know, those higher gears, which is definitely what we're after. Into 6th, still pulling. Couple of turns here, but I think the tuning on the gears is pretty much dialed into where we want it right now. Pulling nice up that hill. Gonna make sure we don't get hit by that truck, 'cause that would absolutely demolish this vehicle in real life. And of course, those beautiful turbo noises. No wheel spin at all when you're launching. Let's see if we can do a launch from a dig. As you can see, a little bit of wheel spin, but once those tires hook, this thing is pretty much gone, which is exactly what you would want for a vehicle like this. Lots of grip. You know, you don't want it to be just spinning, because everybody knows spinning ain't winning. But with that being said, I'm thinking we are probably going to put an end to this video. I'm just going to pull off here, take a couple of shots here for our thumbnail. Just starting to rain actually as we speak. You can see that raindrop getting into the shot. Raindrop, no drop top. I am thinking we are probably going to put an end to this one before that heavy rain gets here. So as always, if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to smash that like button. If you guys want to see more and you are not subscribed yet, definitely do so, man, because we got all kinds of videos like this coming on the channel. And as always, we are going to catch y'all mofos at the next one, man. Peace! Don't die. Oh shit, where you going, bro? Don't be creeping on my friend. Don't be creeping on my friend. You ain't your homie. Oh, nut shot. Nut shot. Oh, buddy. Let's go. And your boy, man. Get him out of here. Oh, you fucking... Oh, my God.